Welcome back, it's 9, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the new PlayStation Plus that has just launched today in North America. So we're going to be taking a look at what it's like to upgrade and what the whole subscription has to offer at the most extreme premium tier. And we're going to look at it and see just, is it worth it? Is there a lot there for us to take a look at? And I will give you my thoughts at the end. We're going to do a deep breakdown. There will be timestamps. Check those out if you want to jump to a specific section. But let's start off with upgrading because, well, number one, we're at Essential, which means pretty much nothing at this point other than the typical being able to play online and your free games of the month. So let's take a look at the upgrade section first, and then we'll go from there. So as you can see, it's actually giving me different prices to upgrade. So first off, my plan actually, or my PlayStation Plus, just renewed, I think a week ago. And so I, it was on auto renew. I didn't even realize it. And it put me at the Essential tier. As you can see, it says your current plan. And then if we wanted to do extra, it would be $44.38 for the year. Now, for the sake of this video and for the sake of experiencing PlayStation Plus Premium and everything it has to offer, I'm going to be upgrading today to Premium. And I'll get to enjoy it for a year and see if the value is truly there. And we'll definitely do a follow-up video for that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I might have to black out some stuff just for personal, private reasons, obviously. But let's do that. As you can see, it says your subscription plan has changed right at the top right. Thank you, whatever about the receipt and everything. So next payment on 6/8/2023. So return to PS Plus Hub. All right, so now we're in the premium tier. As you can see, it says PlayStation Plus Premium now. And we're going to take a look at what it says for latest. And we can see there's game catalog, classic games, game trials, game catalog, cloud streaming, and monthly games. The monthly games have not changed at all. I think it's still the same God of War. Yep, those are the 3 games. And obviously, we have those in here as well. So let's start off with the game catalog. Let's take a look at that and see what's in there. I'm sure there's lots of titles for us to choose from. And I have most of these games already, so it's probably going to be a situation where I won't benefit the most off of it, but somebody who is not buying games day one could really well benefit off of that. So let's take a look. I'll scroll through slowly, and we'll go from there. So there's quite the selection of games. There's a lot to choose from, especially if you're somebody who doesn't buy games day and date every single time. So just in itself, Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed, Demon Souls, Ghost of Tsushima, Returnal, these games already, and Death Stranding, these games already are adding a lot of value if you're not somebody who buys these games day and date, and Spider-Man as well on there. So there's a lot of value in this already if you're not somebody who buys games day and date. Let's take a look at the classic games. Obviously, this is a big one, PSP, PlayStation 1, and PS2 games. And the catalog is interesting so far. There's probably a lot that's not here that's going to be here by the end of the year. I would imagine they're going to add games pretty regularly, at least to make it worth it, right? So Resident Evil Director's Cut is a nice one I'm seeing already. Siphon Filter, obviously. Wild Arms, that's classic there. We got Oddworld, that's another. These are games that I remember playing on the PlayStation 1. Dark Cloud 2 is a good one too. So there are games, Arc the Lad, I remember playing that one too. So there's a lot of good games here too, but unfortunately it is kind of lacking here. That's the one thing that I'm kind of, we really need more here. And I'm hoping that they will regularly add those things because that is definitely something we want to see in order to make this the most valuable or give us the most value possible. So we'll check over time as they add things and we'll revisit this for sure. Next up, we're talking about game trials. Let's see what they have here for great game trials. And wow, Horizon Forbidden West up there. Naturally, that should be up there because that's going to be a big one for people. Tiny Tina's Wonderland, Cyberpunk. I mean, that's an older game, but okay. Uncharted, Biomutant. So kind of lacking here too. But again, this is the fresh launch of this subscription service. I feel like this is something that's going to evolve a lot over time. So I wouldn't be too disappointed about this just yet. Maybe you want to hold off and not get the premium tier yet, just to wait until something really does come that's going to be appealing towards you. But I imagine with The Last of Us Part 1 coming, and then we also have Forspoken, and we also have, hopefully, God of War Ragnarok, those games will be here as well for you to try out before you buy them. So those are going to be more games there that I would hope will be added, and amongst other games that are going to be added as they come out as well. So then we have another game catalog tab, and this one is actually just looks like genres. So different genres that you can look into, and that way, you know, you can kind of explore that and see how you feel about those. So it's just kind of easier to find the type of games you're looking for. And then we have cloud streaming, which will probably be mostly PS3 games, but there are going to be options of streaming other games as well. So that'll be there for you guys as well if you're interested in that. We also have something very interesting that I saw, and it was the Ubisoft Classics catalog right here, Ubisoft Plus Classics. And this is definitely something we already knew about, and now we're seeing just what that means in terms of games. So those are all here. Let's take a look at them all to see exactly what we're looking at. And it looks decent, I'll say. Again, these are kind of just like an add-on, a tack-on, basically. Like, this isn't why anybody would subscribe to the service. I don't imagine that this is the reason, but this is a nice bonus. I think the biggest thing here definitely would be Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's definitely the highlighter for the Ubisoft stuff. Outside of that, obviously, we have a lot of PlayStation content and other content as well, so we'll see what happens there. Next up, we are looking at the all-new PlayStation Plus benefits. They have a bunch of tiles here that you can take a look at, and they had at the top say what tier it is and what it gives you. So you've got the Share Play with Essential, Cloud Storage with Essential, Game Help Essential, Online Multiplayer Essential, Exclusive Packs, so that stand out with character skins, emotes, and in-game items only available with PS Plus. So we see that often with like games that are usually free-to-play or usually live service games. I think we may have seen it with like other titles as well, but that's kind of the biggest thing that stands out to me for these type of things. We have exclusive discounts. Of course, that's nothing new. Monthly games, nothing new as well. And the PlayStation Plus collection, which has been around since the launch of the PS5. So then we have Extra, which is basically the PlayStation Plus game catalog, which is like PS4 games, PS5 games. This would not include the PS3 or the streaming or the classic games. And that's where premium would come in, where you'd get that cloud streaming, you would get the classic catalog, and you would get game trials. So it's interesting that they want to like put this out there so you can really see what you're getting for everything. And there's quite a few more perks after Extra. It's funny because Extra only gives you one extra perk, which is a pretty massive perk, obviously. And then the premium gives you three. And honestly, the biggest thing that stands out again for this entire subscription service for me personally is game trials. But you know, the classic catalog could be very valuable if they add more games. As of right now, it's pretty lacking. So furthermore, we're going to have like classic catalog at the bottom, like telling you, hey, if you click this to show you more about that. You're going to have different tabs as well, PlayStation Plus game trials, must plays, you know, just kind of ways to advertise different games that you're going to have, as well as benefits. And then we have tabs as well for benefits, collections, which will let you dive into different genres and everything. And then games, which is just a general page for all the games that they have on the platform, which I won't go through all of them just because it's really going to be a long video, but I'll show you just how long this list is and just how ridiculously long this list is if you are signed up at the premium tier. It's a lot to take in, right? Because there's so many games here, there's so many things here that could appeal to a lot of people, and then it could appeal to not many people. So when we look at game trials, because that is going to be something that people are curious about, how do game trials work? What are we looking at when we go to game trials? Let's check out Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection. As you can see, it says 2-hour full game trial included with your premium subscription, and it gives you the option to download the trial. So if we hit download trial, it's going to let us download it, I'm assuming. Yeah, so it's going to let us choose what we want to play first. And then it's going to download this, and then we wait for this to download. So once you've downloaded the game, you'll see that it says the title of the game, and then it says trial afterwards. It's got the PS Plus logo as well. And at the bottom, it'll say play trial. So let's run that and see what that's like. what it says to us. So remaining time on your game trial, 2 hours. Enjoy the trial. Any purchases made during the trial will be available with full game purchase. To get the full game now, select view game. So basically, it'll give you your timer. I'm assuming once you leave, you come back, it'll be the same situation. So it won't be 2 hours once the game starts, but rather 2 hours of like while you're running the game. So that is one way that I pretty much fully expected it to go. And I'm glad it did, because I think that's the most simple way of doing things. So I'm going to quit the game just to see what happens once I go back in. And I'm curious what will be done. All right, let's try to jump back in again. So 1 hour, 59 minutes. Awesome. So yeah, it just basically takes down the 2 hours of during playtime. And that's to be expected. I feel like that's going to make the most sense for how they're going to execute that. Next up, I want to show you guys what a PlayStation Classic looks like. So this is a PS1 game that we are going to be running on, obviously, PlayStation 5. And I believe they've added trophy support as well. Let's see how this looks. I mean, they probably all execute the same way, where you're going to have options to do whatever you like. So yeah, you got the rewind, load and save settings, and then you have visual presets, retro, classic, and modern. Wonder what modern looks like. So you do have many options with rewind, load and save, and then settings. You can do different visual presets and video aspect ratios. You can even go back to the native resolution, which is a very small box. So you probably don't want to do that. And then the visual presets, which you have retro, classic, and modern. Basically, this game is going to run very close to the original, I would say. You can make it run closer to the original. And that's kind of it with classics. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's a lot of features that we've seen with other platforms. Like, for example, if you've ever used Nintendo Switch Online, their NES program or app, or their SNES app, or their Nintendo 64 app, these are similar features you're going to see. Say you wanted to just save a quick save, you could do that as well. I mean, these are all expected features you would hope that they would have, and it looks like that they are there. So it makes it probably easier to get through these games. But overall, it's pretty much the same thing that we expect across all the different classics. I imagine that they're all going to have those features. And yeah, that's it. I mean, that's the only big thing that they've done is like adding trophy support, which is really cool. That surprised me that they did that, but it's really cool. I think a lot of people will be excited about that, but it'll probably give incentive for people to go back. But yeah, the games are classics, and they are definitely dated in many, many ways. As long as you enjoy them still for what they were, then that is something that's there for you. So I also want to do one example of PlayStation 3 streaming. I mean, it's going to be like PS Now for sure. It's not going to be anything outrageous that we've never seen before. But I do want to show you, and I'm going to show you guys with Street Fighter 2. So you pretty much click the game. You have the option of adding it to your wish list, or hit the stream button. And if you hit stream, brings up this screen, and then you just wait for it to load. And again, it's all going to be dependent on your internet. That's the biggest factor here. I'm running a gigabit download and 30 megabit upload. So that is going to usually mean that I'm going to have a good experience. Obviously, there are going to be cases where it could, have hiccups here and there. But overall, it being wired in and, hardwired in and with a good internet connection, you're probably going to be all right playing these games. But I do want to show you guys what it's like. And it's, like I said, it's not going to be crazy different from what you're used to with PS Now, but I'll show you anyway just what it's like. Running smooth so far, no issues. Again, I feel like they've improved a lot since, so it's not something that you're going to see change too much across. Jeez, man, I'm pretty rusty at this. So say you want to pull up the menu, you can hit the PlayStation emblem on the controller, press X right on this tab here, and it gives you the option to do quite a few things. You can adjust stream quality. Well, first of all, you can close the game. You can report a problem, change the controller. Stream quality with most games, with PS3 in general, it's going to be standard 720p. And I'm assuming with PS4 and up, you're probably looking at 1080p maximum for streaming. Just makes sense. You can test your internet speeds. You can go to return to game. You can look at more PS Plus games. There's also the show and hide PS3 menu, which will bring up the PS3 menu that you're looking for, like the traditional PS3 menu, which gives you your save data utility, and it's going to give you your trophy collection. You hit the trophy collection, it'll sync everything for you, make sure that everything's being uploaded properly, so you don't have to worry about, popping trophies and them not showing up on your profile. So that's one thing that you can still do. And if you guys remember, that was like a big thing for the PS3. And then you can look at your friends list. But of course, like I said, it's one of those situations where it's very, very small, like compared to what the PS3 options were. But it's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be essential things that you would use. And so you can quit back again by hitting the emblem on your controller and go show hide PS3 menu. And go back to your game. At the end of the day, when we talk about the value here, right, and who is this for? And again, I always say this is the kind of service that's for somebody who doesn't buy games every single game day and date. This is somebody who isn't able to spend that money, or maybe doesn't want to spend that money on the newest titles every single time. This allows them to spend less and still have a lot of games to play. So for those people, this service is amazing, right? There's a lot to choose from. And I think that can't be argued. Like, there's a lot of value there for that. There's also game trials which allow you to try a game before you decide to buy it, which is a big deal, right? You can learn a lot about how you feel about a game within 2 hours of playing a game. And I feel like in that case, it's very worthwhile. The classic catalog, on the other hand, is something that really, really needs work, and I think it's obvious, right? I think it's quite clear that we were not going to see a massive classic catalog for PSP, PS1, and PS2. I feel like those games that are listed there are a very small portion of what we could see in the future, and I'm very curious to see what things look like by this time next year when we do our review for year 2. As of right now, classic catalog is very weak, and honestly one of the weakest things about this, and that's kind of my only gripe with it at the moment. Everything else is pretty solid. I would say the game trials is solid, even though the game trials, there aren't enough games there. But again, one of those things where I feel like we're going to get more games over time, and it's going to fill out that list, and people are going to be a lot happier with what they see. But as of right now, looking at game trials, there's just not enough games for game trials. There just isn't. What do we got here? We got 5, 10, 15 games. That's just not enough. 15 games for game trials is just really under-delivering, and I feel like it's something that will improve over time, but as of right now, just doesn't. You don't see the value for game trials at the moment. But I feel like by the end of this year, with these games that are coming, The Last of Us, Forspoken, Harry Potter, God of War Ragnarok, if it does come out, a bunch of other games I know I'm forgetting. If they're there, it's going to add a lot for game trials. For cloud streaming, obviously we've talked about how PS3 games can't only be through cloud streaming. We need to see those games playable through emulation on the PS5. And I think over time we're going to get that, but as of right now, my experience with streaming is actually not too bad on PS Plus now. It's not called PS Now, but it's not too bad, and I'm actually quite all right with it. So I feel like that is something that I can definitely get behind. The PlayStation Plus games catalog is pretty decent too. I feel like there's a lot to choose from here. And again, as I said from the beginning, that if you're somebody who doesn't buy games all the time, or can't afford to buy games all the time or day and date, this is going to be a subscription that definitely stands out for you. And even at the extra value or the extra tier, it's very much a value there. Overall, I mean, it's the first day. It's the first day this subscription is out. And because of that, it's hard to have our expectations skyrocketing way too high. In terms of what it is for day one, I feel like it's an okay subscription service for most people. But I feel like for myself at the moment, I probably will not be using this much, given that most of the games on here that I want to play I already have. And then the older games through PS3, I either just don't want to play them, or I've already beaten the ones that I like. So it's one of those things that for me personally, at a premium tier, it doesn't make sense. I probably would just subscribe at Essential, and then maybe if they added a lot of good classic games, I would come back. But as of right now, it's just I don't see the value for me personally. For me personally, I don't see that there is a lot of value here for me. But like I said, for most people, this is going to be a high-value subscription. Overall, those are my thoughts on it. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Have you subscribed to PlayStation Plus Premium or Extra, or are you still at the Essential tier, or are you not subscribed at all? If you have, let me know what your thoughts are on the different tiers and how you feel about it. As always, if you have not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos. Hit the like button, it helps the channel a ton. You can follow me on Twitter and Twitch, links will be in the description, and I will talk to you guys on the next one. Take care.